And we have a clip of Kim Klacik, actually 2 clips. It's kind of part 1 and part 2 clips. The first one, of course, they're trying to ask her, as you would think, hey, why are you running for Congress? What do you want to do? What are you trying to achieve? Oh, no. Instead, they're putting her in the hot seat of, how can you be black and be running as a Republican in the same party as Donald Trump? It's just disgusting. And you can see why so many people of color don't want to run for office the way they really live their lives.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
No, you see it, but also it's always what I've seen time and time again. The Democrat Party always takes ethnic groups as one singular monolith and only hit it on certain issues that they think that one monolith will agree with, and they say, oh, we'll vote for you because you're just doing this, when it's actually a lot of people, everyone in those groups are individual people with their own free thoughts and free wills to think what they want to do, and they don't think the same. They're not one big collective. They're human beings. They're individual people.
Exactly. And here's the thing. So, of course, Kim Klacik running in Baltimore, and she lives in the state of Maryland, of course, running in the city against the Democrat machine, which has been in control there for many, many decades. She decides, nonetheless, to go from one media outlet to another and talk about how bad things are in Baltimore, but they don't really want to hear that because that's not the narrative. We have a clip on that, and here it is.
But let me ask you this. During ABC's town hall, Trump said that he hopes there isn't a race problem in the country, but he's repeatedly branded anti-racism protesters in the U.S. as terrorists. Now, while you say that Black lives, and let me also say he's pointedly declined to condemn right-wing violence at those same demonstrations. While you say that Black lives do matter, you are not a supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, is my understanding. I want to know why not, and I also want to ask you, do you recognize that there is right-wing violence also at these demonstrations?
Yes, I'm going to dial this all the way back. Thank you for all your questions and your stats in the beginning there. I'm running against Kwesi and Fume. Sure. My opponent was there from 1987 to 1996. So all your stats are very accurate. And they are accurate because my opponent and Joe Biden signed over that 1994 crime bill, which led to a lot of those numbers you just laid out. Now, I will say that Black Lives Matter movement started out great. There's a lot of peaceful protesters that are involved in it. But at some point, it was hijacked. Now we have people coming into cities, and these are outsiders. If you look at the arrest records, they're outsiders coming into cities and burning down, looting businesses, and a lot of them minority-owned businesses in the name of, I don't even know what, because I don't even know what their list of demands are. They say they want to defund the police, but at the same time, I mean, you take a look at that, it doesn't make any sense. If you want police to have more training and to be better equipped for their job, you would add funding.
Yeah, you'd add funding. So she has, Kim Klacik, of course, has her own mind. She goes on The View. All she does, she wants to talk about the city of Baltimore and what awful shape it is in. But instead, the interviewers on The View, the panel, they all have an opportunity, a shot at asking questions. And this particular panelist wants to know about Donald Trump and about Kimberly Klacik's support of Donald Trump, rather than talking about the issues that actually people care about in the cities in America.
Instead of that, they're not talk. She doesn't want to know about why Kimberly Klacik is running and what does she bring to fix Baltimore, or her district rather. It's more like I forget the panelist's name on The View, but basically it seems like she wants to figure out what potentially is wrong in Kimberly Klacik's head, which is not wrong. She's a free-thinking person that's running for a vacant seat, and she thinks she can bring a different perspective. And granted, she's running on the Republican Party ticket. She won the primary, and she's going to give a juxtaposition of what she can provide versus what's the same old, but from the Democrats, putting some person's always been in the politics, but will they actually change anything, or they always get up in there and get their pension basically and just serve a term and then just retire? It's just crazy.
It is absolutely amazing to me because of the fact that The View only wants to talk about the 4 years that Donald Trump's been in office, and they're trying to make a connection between America's failing cities that have been run exclusively by Democrats and Donald Trump, when it was pre-pandemic a fact that incomes were increasing better than they've ever increased across all races and so forth, which we probably really shouldn't be measuring anyway.
I agree with that.
But nonetheless, this is what matters to the Democrat viewers of The View. So then Kim Klacik on The View gets Joy Behar, because Joy Behar
heated.
plays. She of course is the last questioner naturally on The View because she's by far the nastiest, and that's the way they started The View. First, you get someone who's somewhat friendly, then you get someone who starts challenging you, then you get the nasty, and then you get the really nasty, and of course Joy Behar comes naturally.
They butter you up before they bake you.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did, except that I think Kimberly Klacik
She was
fully
ready.
expected this was going to happen. And so she absolutely crushes Joy Behar in this clip. And here it is.
Come on, Kim. Excuse me, I have to say something to you. He told Bob Woodward that it was a very serious issue and it's airborne and that it was terrible. And then he went out and told the American people, don't wear masks, it's all going to go away. You have to put some blame on your president. I'm sorry. You're putting it on something extraneous here. Talk to the point, please.
Is this Joy speaking?
The guy
The
lied.
same Joy? The same
Yes.
Joy that
Yes.
paraded around in blackface not too long ago? Come on, Joy. I don't think you should be
That's
asking
not
these
true.
questions. I am
Excuse
an
me,
African American.
excuse me. The black community had my back. They know that
The
that
black
was not
community has my
blackface. That
back.
was an homage. Oh, please,
black
just
community
answer the
has my
question.
back.
Black
as well.
community has your back? The black
Yes.
community has
Yes,
your back?
they do. Sonny,
The
Yes.
black community did
Sonny,
not
tell
vote
them.
for you.
Well,
the black
you know what?
community did not vote for you. What
It was
planet
during
are
a
you
special
living
election.
on?
Sonny, can I speak?
What
It was
planet
during-
are you living on?
It was during a special election while we were still under lockdown and I could not
Okay,
talk
we're gonna
to people. Can I speak or are you just
all
going to
right,
scream
before
over
this
me?
becomes a big... Listen,
respectful
Kim,
to
good
Joy.
luck to you. Thanks to Kim Klacik.
That was very
we'll be right
immature,
back.
but
Bye.
thank you for having me.
So that was just Kim Klacik. Crushed that. Great job, Kim Klacik. So proud that we had her on this program many months ago before she became a national figure. So
Yep.
proud. And we're going to have her back too, by the way.
That'll be great.
But I got to tell you something. Joy Behar says, the black community had my back. Was like, yeah, they had your back the way they had Ralph Northam's back too when he did blackface.
The fact she defended it as paying a homage to black people, I'm like, wait, what? So many people have used that excuse and being like eviscerated. So how did you get a pass?
And they get canceled.
Yep.
So how is Joy Behar still on The View? Like, the wokest of the woke women in America. Yes, she's still on there, but she went out in
And
blackface.
I think universally blackface is, obviously you don't do it because it's horrible. But on top of that,
Clearly you don't.
And you're making light of black people anyways when you do it. But the fact is, now it seems like, wait, you can pick and choose? Because usually it's like blackface discovered a few decades in the past. It's still not okay, and you're still going to get some heat for it. But it's like what?
So podcast listeners, what information did you get from that interview that The View just had with Kim Klacik? You got no information that would make the city better of Baltimore.
No.
Just no information whatsoever. But yet she went on that program to provide specific information. They weren't interested.
Nope. They just wanted to vilify her and try and ruin her
And
chances.
why? Because she's black and she's a Republican. And that's what makes her, that's the most fascinating thing. The Democrat Party and their useful idiots in the media are not interested in making things better for the black community. And that's why we're calling this podcast very proudly, I say, Guardians of the Plantation. Because these are the media, the useful idiots in the media and the fake news, as well as the Democrat Party. They have created these modern day 21st century places where you can't get out of them because you're so dependent and it's so bad. You got a bad education, there's no jobs, there's nowhere to go. So therefore you're stuck there.
It honestly does feel like the Democrat Party at large, maybe the National Committee rather, would consider as almost like, they do consider minorities and ethnic groups for granted as voting blocks, but also it almost like, hey, we'll take care of you, and most of them are white liberals saying to minorities, hey, we'll take care of you, just vote for us, we'll take care of you, no worries, you definitely want this, instead of like saying, what matters to you, how can I fix it? It doesn't seem like they're really doing like the ground steps and figuring out what matters in the communities, because honestly the communities are in shambles.
Absolutely.